Hey guys, I'm 50s Kid. Behind me is the E46 BMW, and I'm going to be doing some repair work on the front bumper. So let's take a look. As far as removing the bumper from the car, obviously I've already done that. So I'll just tell you basically, there are only the two very large, these are T50 Torx bolts, and you get at them basically up through right here. It's just they just fit through a slot right here, and really what they're doing is they're going up through the crash protector thing here, and they are basically slotting through that hole right there, and they're fitting into a nut. Okay, so you just got to take those out, and then over on the other side here, there's supposed to be mud guards. So I don't have those mud guards because they were chewed up on my vehicle because of the previous damage the damage that the previous owner inflicted to it. However, this was I believe it was something like that. Okay, so I don't have these mud guards, but it looks to me like you just need to remove the two fasteners at the top here and here. They should be 8mm. And that should be it. It looks like the rest of the mud guard probably attaches directly to the bumper, and there's nothing else for the mud guard to attach to. It doesn't look like there are any holes, or it doesn't look like it's attaching to this in any way. It might just kind of clip into this or something, but it also doesn't look like it's attached to the splash shield. Splash shield just attaches to the bumper here and here. So although I also see something here. I have a fastener here, which may or may not be on the splash shield. So that may be that may also be one of the mud guard fasteners. So it might be 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 right here. So if you just remove those 4 fasteners on the mud guard, you can get that off. You'll get the bumper off. There's one connector for the fog lights if you have it. If you have fog lights, so that's one there. And this is for the horn. This one right here is for the horn. And I have a third one over here, and I have no idea where the hell it goes to or what it goes to, and I can't figure it out from the real OEM diagrams. So if anybody knows, let me know. I want to bring your attention to these yellow plastic guards right here on the side. This is basically where the bumper slots into, where this piece slots into, and this is how mine's damaged. This was basically when I took the bumper off. This stayed on the vehicle, kind of right up in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some new epoxy on the plastic here and just kind of reattach it. All I did earlier was I just kind of shaved off the sides, just the extra epoxy that was kind of sticking off on the sides that had come off. So this now fits down over there really nicely, and I can just kind of snap it into place like that. And so I'm probably gonna, I think I'm gonna sand all the edges so that I've got some, something for the adhesive to dig into. And I'm also gonna clean it with a little bit of solvent, make sure it's perfectly clean. And then I'm gonna basically glue it up. I'm gonna use this JV plastic weld. Says it's good for most hard plastics and ABS. This is polypropylene. It says that somewhere on here. There should be a PP sticker. I saw it earlier. It says PP-COPO. I believe the PP means polypropylene. So I'm going based off of that, polypropylene, because there are 6 types of plastic on bumpers, and one of them is polypropylene. So I believe it's polypropylene. Somebody else can correct me if I'm wrong, but hey, to the best of my knowledge, it is polypropylene. So that is how we're going to proceed. So I kind of think that sanding things at this point might be, it might not really even do any good, but I'm going to do it anyway. I've just got some 320 grit here. I'm going to try to use, and it doesn't feel like I'm even able to get kind of a bite on this, on what's here. I think this is actually just like old epoxy, whatever they used, old adhesive, old epoxy. But I guess I'll just do it anyway. And really, 320, 240, 320 is good. And when I said I used an X-Acto knife earlier to cut these down, I just kind of mean the edges, the sides, because they were kind of sticking out. They kind of still are. I just kind of shaved the edges off the sides just so that they would fit through the slots on here a little bit easier. Kind of don't see much point to the sanding. I mean, you should anyway, it would be a good idea. But because there's old epoxy on there, I don't think we're doing much. If it was raw plastic, maybe. But I definitely will clean it with solvent. That's important. You don't want to stick glue to dirt because that's not going to do anything. So VMP naphtha is the same thing as Prep-All. So this is what you would use to wipe down panels right before you're painting or something. It's kind of a mild non-polar solvent. Really good for just cleaning things up. So dries relatively quickly. See, get all that dirt. Good. So now I'm going to slip that under there, just like that. This is quick setting, 5-minute epoxy, cures in an hour. So we got to be pretty quick about this when we mix it up and put it on. So I want to make sure that I have a little, I've got everything ready. I'm gonna have to give you a little stick to mix things with. I usually use a toothpick. I have some flux paintbrushes, you know, those little brushes you would use to wipe flux on when you're doing plumbing. So I've got like a whole pack of those. So I think I'm just going to use those and paint some of the epoxy on there. So let me go grab that. Got a little paper plate. Got a little brush, and that's what I'm going to use to mix it. Just open this. Squirt some of each on there. Recap it. Just basically mix it up, mix it together, and we've got a 5-minute working time. So you just kind of get going. Paint that stuff on there. Paintbrush seems to be the most efficient way to get a lot of it on there really quickly. So I'm just going to let that cure for an hour, throw this out, and hopefully this thing will be strong as ever. By the way, I just noticed this. I don't know if I can make it show up on the camera here with the lights, but this says mixing tray right here. So they give you a little area where you can mix the epoxy. So just noticed that. There's a little BTW. These black slots actually fit into these white locating tabs, and you can see that there are two bolts on either tab, and if we loosen those, it'll make the locating tab loose, and that way once I put the bumper on, I can actually push the bumper up and make it so that the panel gap is as small as it can possibly be, and then I'll reach in from underneath and tighten them with a ratchet just to get the panel gap as tight as it can be. So seeing as the bumper is all good now, I think I will put it back on. So I think before I put the bumper back on, actually, I'm going to loosen these and kind of position them up where I want them to be. Because I think the weight of the bumper is actually going to pull them down a little too much. So I'm going to try there. I think this is going to sort of be a position, like a trial and error process. The one on the passenger side is actually undamaged. This one is a little damaged right up in here from the accident. This light's also damaged as well. So I've got more wiggle room on this one because the plastic up here is kind of broken. It should be kind of stuck into the fender right here, but it's not. On the other side it is. So if you are undamaged, you'll only have a little bit of wiggle room, and it'll be, you know, a little bit easier for you to not get out of tolerance. So now I'm gonna hook this from underneath with the bumper first. Come up over those two supports, and then make sure that we slot these things into, slot those slots into their keys there. Yeah, I think that looks good. Things are pretty tight on either side. I do have accident damage on this side, so I think I can never expect it to be absolutely perfect, but for me, it's really good enough. Now I'll reach up from underneath and plug the fog lights and the horn back in on each side. And it might be a little easier to plug the horns in before you put the bumper on. Definitely before you put the splash shield back in. Push real hard till you hear that click. And for me, only one piece of trim so far. Well, anyway, that's how you fix damage to your front bumper if you have it in those areas. That's how you take it off and put it back on. Thanks for watching.